All right. Well, we know Tanya will be rejoining. So it is Tuesday, November 25th, 6:30-ish. And this is the Finance Committee of the City of Stoughton. I'll call this into order. When Tanya joins, everybody will be here, so we have a quorum. And can certify that we are in compliance with open meetings law. Public comment. Hearing none. We will move on to communications and presentations.
Thank you. So Rick was going to follow up with Forward Development Group to see where the land sale was at and all the funds, and seeing about a payment plan. I have not heard back from him, so I hope to touch base with him and have something for the next meeting.
And you talked right before Valentine's Day. You're right.
And then we had the delinquent personal property write-offs.
Yep. So per our policy, the finance director can write off under $25,000 without it going through a formal approval process. Just need to inform you of what is being written off. So just a few delinquent personal property taxes. And then also I'll mention during this time, during the budget process, it was discovered that the workers' compensation insurance, the utility hadn't been paying their portion for 3 years. So we finally got the amounts last week. We'll be invoicing the utilities, so that's about just under $87,000 that we'll see come in.
So that was being paid out of?
The utilities need to pay us, but yes, the city has been paying for that for 2022 to 2024.
Yeah, wasn't there something where they won't split it for us or something?
Right.
So we pay the whole amount, but for whatever reason, utilities...
They won't do separate invoices, but they can split out the amount. They just hadn't been, because they certainly do when it comes to the audit and the utilities receive a credit, which has been sent to them without them paying. So we'll be all caught up here soon.
Any questions on those? Thank you for that update. Next item is approval of the minutes from November 11th. Did everybody have a chance to look at them?
Move to approve.
Okay. Motion by Lisa.
Second.
Second by Adrian. Any edits, questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? All right, we will move on to treasurer reports.
Patrick, can we do the resolution first, and then we'll fill in the reports
Oh, of course.
thereafter? So.
Okay, so we will move on to the resolution. Let me fast forward my laptop here. So this is the resolution we were going to talk about last time. But Grosso's going to be here tonight to talk about it? Or?
No, we'll cover it for you, though.
Okay. So this is the resolution approving an amendment to an offer to purchase with GIP Glacier Marine LLC. And this is R166 of 2025. So
we met with them.
Mm-hmm.
Was it last week maybe? And they're basically looking for more time to close on the property. They, in a perfect world, they have another property that they're trying to sell, and they believe that they'll get it sold. And then it also gives them additional time because they have to reinvest within so many days, or they have to pay capital gains, so they want to have time to get their ducks in a row. And I know Lisa had done some analysis on whether or not that would affect things like the letter of credit, tax increment, and I'll let you cover that.
So we did have a discussion with them if they follow the timeline of having the value of the construction or the construction completed within 2027 for the first building, construction 2028 So we're starting receiving increment in 2029 and 2023 based off of the value they gave us with the current tax rate at a declining of 1.5%. They would be able to make the guarantee amount that we need before the TID closes. So there was some concern when they threw out a date of not even constructing till 2029 that there would be a possible that we'd have to draw on the letter of credit, or there is a 3-year extension available for the TID, which likely we wouldn't want to do for this purpose. So everything looks like it should work out if the value comes in as they say it is.
Yeah, we just want to make sure that everybody was clear on that. They've had a hard time wrapping their arms around the letter of credit and when the assessment's done and when the increment is collected, because it's basically a 2-year lag, for lack of a better word. And they were thinking that the value was there once the building was completed. Well, if it's completed in February, it might not get assessed until the following January, and then we don't get the check until the end of that year or so. I don't know if they're still clear on it, but they were clear enough where they agreed to the terms. And we're confident that they'll make them. The 2 buildings that they're working on now are just about done, and they should be ready to start this up as soon as the weather is ready in the spring. And I think what we put in there, May, just to make sure. Was it May 15th? Yeah. Yeah, we're hoping that they'll complete and start before then, but we put in that date because we knew it would still meet all the goals. But if they come back and want to go out further than that, then I think we're going to be having a different conversation.
So beyond, you talked about the TID impact and everything like that. Is there any other negative impacts potentially for delaying it? Either?
No, I mean, it's really on them. Either they'd have to pay us the difference or draw on the letter of credit if they wouldn't meet the amount.
Yeah, we made it perfectly clear they're not going to get a free pass on the letter of credit. And this deal is unique for them. I don't think any of the other communities that they build, their deals are structured like this, but we had to because the initial building out there did not have a secured guarantee. So that building is still not developed the way it was intended to be, you know, the North American Fur building, the original building. And it's on its 3rd owner right now, and at this point we still don't have a timetable for an addition being put onto that building. We have had some initial conversations about possibly purchasing some excess land that goes with that building. Maybe once this building gets constructed, financially we'll be in a better position to, you know, go deeper in that conversation if it's for sale. It's right next to our other remaining piece of property, which is about 4.5 acres. So it might make sense, especially if we're approached by a potential user.
And so, any questions? So we're being asked to recommend this to council tonight?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and you know, we only have the one meeting in December, so we're trying to get as much off our plate tonight as we can. And even with that, the agenda is still fairly light, but I think we're going to have a couple, 3 items for sure in December.
I would make the motion to recommend approval to council.
All right, we have a motion from Lisa.
Second.
Second from Brett. Any final comments, questions? Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
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 And any opposed? All right, we will recommend that to council. And we're going to act on that tonight, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
All right, then we will
Yeah, we didn't notice it as a time sensitive because we introduced it in the last meeting, but took no action on it,
Right.
so it's not like a brand new item.
Okay. So now we'll move on to the reports.
Same items as before, nothing new to report, except in there is the third quarter revolving loan fund. Everyone is making payments still. I'm happy to answer any specific questions on any of the reports.
On the revolving loans, those are, I mean, as long as they're still making payments on there, but were one or two of them going through bankruptcy proceedings or something like that? And how would that have an impact on these funds? Because they're non-secured.
I don't know about the bankruptcy
Okay,
portion of that, so I can't speak to that. But yes, their tenants have left, but they're still making payments. I'm going to make a phone call to Wybick. I was given a name to contact as far as their collection processes and what they'll do, and if there is anything else that we may need to do to try to keep it collecting, that they would stop.
all right.
All right, any other questions on treasurer reports? Quiet group tonight. All right, well then, I should probably bring this back in March.
I'll say you could double that for 314.
That's right. So then, let me move my cursor here. Our future agenda items, we have cash handling policy, purchasing card policy, TID 7 projects, depot sale, proceeds, affordable housing fund uses, and TID 4 extension and termination. And we don't have dates on those. Are any of them urgent that we should consider?
Not urgent, but they need to be done. Shannon and I just met yesterday on the purchasing card policy, working together on updating that. We currently had an agreement that employees had to sign when they received a credit card, but it needed additional information, and we really need to crack down on some things. So they'll be re-signing, be trying to meet with groups at a time to really go over this form so they have a true understanding, because there can be disciplinary action or removal of the card. And so Shannon and I will be finalizing that. The cash handling policy, we currently don't. When I started here, the way the cash was kept was not acceptable. And I want to evaluate all the locations and then have a policy too. And I'm going to work with Shannon to have the utility included, and she may want some different things in there than what we would have for citywide. So we'll be working on that. Another item, updating the purchasing policy, so we'll be adding that here, but that likely will be spring, where Shannon and I want to work together on that as well. Depot sale proceeds, we're going to have a resolution at the next meeting to commit some funds for that for the Historical Society. So there was a previous like $80,000 request. Tim, I don't know if you have any other information, but it seems like it won't happen until next year. So we're going to commit $80,000 for now, and then we would amend the budget next year depending on what they bring forth.
They have two options that they're looking at, and the last communication I had is that they're having a board meeting in January, and they're gonna vote on which option they're gonna go with. I don't know if that affects their request or not. I think in that one option, the building may be bigger than the other, but that doesn't mean it's gonna cost more or less. So I'm hoping to get more information from them. I told them I need like a quote or something, because right now I don't have anything. And then to try to understand if they have any other partners other than just us that they're asking money for.
Are they, oops, sorry, getting some bids, or that's what you had suggested that they need to do?
I had suggested they did that. I know they've been talking to people and they've at least got a rough number, but I don't know if that's number's been written on a piece of paper yet. But I told them, we can't really authorize any transfer of any funds without something to support it.
I have to turn that down, Jay, in a few minutes, okay? Okay, thanks.
So hopefully we'll learn more about the request in January, but I'm also trying to understand if they have other endowments that are gonna participate in that cost, if they're gonna fundraise for a portion or what their plan is. So I don't know if they're gonna have that all ready at the same time or not, but we wanna at least earmark some money, so if there is actual requests, we have a source for it. But at the end of the day, it's gonna be up to you and the council to determine what that looks like.
What was, I think that was the period that I was, my gap from council. What were the proceeds on the depot?
Yeah, some of the amounts.
70-ish, and then we had some costs,
Sure.
For, city attorney, for closing costs and those types of things. So I don't know what we actually cleared on it, but it was more than 80, I'm sure. But you may have other ideas what to do with that money. I mean,
And if you're looking for anybody asking any insight on cash handling policy, during my day job, that's one of the many things that falls across my desk for years.
Okay, so I may have you review what we've developed.
sounded like you volunteered to me.
Yep.
Yep, I didn't wait to be voluntold into it.
What were the items in TID 7? What is the land acquisition in there? What was the land acquisition piece of that? I don't recall.
Tim, do you?
Ted 7, that's out by the kennel, I believe.
Oh, okay.
The parkland that
Yeah,
was
because
expanded.
aren't they doing something a little bit different with that bulb on the end? And
Yeah, we did have a conversation with them about how much we can shorten that road and have it connect to the park, so we're waiting for them to come back with some drawings. And then some of the other things that we've talked about with, the True and
yeah,
the apartments that they're hoping to build behind the hotel. And then, whether or not they're gonna do a phase 3, but basically, they've sold, I think it was like 70 of the lots, alley lots, and there's like 22 left. So they're trying to figure out.
they're going up like
sold this
crazy.
and they're sold them to D.R. Horton to build on, but there's still about 20 lots left for sale to a builder. So hopefully they're selling them fast as they're building them. I haven't really heard, but they're pretty aggressive. So we don't know if there's gonna be a phase 3 or not yet,
Okay.
or if there is, what that will look like. So we'll probably be having a follow-up meeting, I don't know, probably, next month maybe? I think the ball's in their court.
Adrian?
I don't see it on future agenda items, but I know that there were some updates to the city goals in the application for the TIF policy, or the TIF application process. So just curious if we have a timeline on when that will
We haven't
come
really
here.
looked at it internally yet, but yeah, we should get it on as a future agenda item for it's the sustainability portion of the TIF application specifically, right?
Yeah.
Well,
So,
it's the revised city goals. So the ask from council was that council wanted guidance on how to guide developers requesting TIF, to give them examples of the types of sustainability implementations that they could do. It's not meant to be restrictive, but kind of to guide them to possibilities. So there was just some language added to the existing goals that's aligned with the sustainability plan.
So you have the language or the.
Well, it was passed on back in July. I'm happy
Yeah,
to send it again.
we'll have to pull it out of the
Okay.
sustainability minutes or packet. It probably just didn't get put in the folder. And then the other thing that on there in TID 7 is Alder Hirsch had reminded us several years ago, we talked about doing some wetland restoration around the pond. And that quote's a few years old now, and it was only for a section that was adjacent to the Walmart property. We're probably gonna wanna update the quote and probably do the entire pond, is my guess. I mean, if we're gonna do a restoration, I don't know if it pays to do part of it, because the invasive will just take it over eventually anyway. And that kinda corresponds with this land and park acquisition portion of it as well, because that's the other section we'd probably wanna do at the same time, so we're probably gonna have to get a quote on that and see what that number is gonna be, and, so we can potentially move forward on that.
Yeah, my recollection is we had put aside like $100,000,
Yep.
but, you know, then things, you know, is one of those things that it got put aside, but no movement on it for a variety of reasons, so.
Yeah, I don't think 100,000 is gonna cover it anymore, especially if we expand that area that we wanna do, which I
Agreed,
think would be
yep.
appropriate.
Yeah, when we looked at it initially, it was only the section that we thought would remain undeveloped. And now if it's a little bit more, then yeah, I think it'll cost a bit more.
So I think once we get all the road vacated and everything is, I don't know if the map is done yet or not, the CSM and all that. Once that's done, I think we would send out some quotes on the entire thing and see where it comes back at, and then see how much money is left in the project plan. We're gonna save some money because we're not doing the road connection to 138, so that'll save us some dollars, but we also use some money to acquire the additional park land, so we gotta see where we're gonna land.
Okay. Then that concludes our agenda for the evening.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to
Second.
adjourn by Brett and a second by Lisa. All in favor, please say aye.
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 And any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.
Have a good Thanksgiving, Ozzy. Yeah, thank you. Hey, Christina, can you hear me?